Okie dokie. Hold on. Diplomat's toolbox. Building relations. TV. That's good. Deadline warehouse. There's still. It works fine. Nothing bad. Boost. Oh yeah. Who's the little kid? Oh. Well, you talk too much. Well, this one I need to. Hopefully, I will not cross the international. It is July 22nd, 2:46 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesday.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's
I
a
was
great
brother.
honor to have President First Marcos Jr. of
I'm sure
the Philippines, a great family legacy,
Cool.
and highly respected in this country. And
That's good.
there are many
I hope
friends
he's a
in the
good man.
Philippines, and
President Marcos. My name's Andrew. Nice to meet
all I
you.
couldn't say it, so
There's something
congratulations.
interesting about Philippines. I need to story time for about Andrew. When
War and peace.
when Andrew was
They're a
young,
very important nation, militarily.
Andrew's father went to the
And we've had
Philippines
some
for 1 year,
great drills lately with
and Andrew's mother did not
I'd say
follow
that
him.
The last administration.
And after he returned, he was not the same man anymore. And something happened in the Philippines. I don't know what happened in the Philippines. Something happened in the Philippines when I was young, when I was a child, under 9 or 8 years old.
With the Philippines, and that's been reinstituted.
Something happened in the Philippines, so I don't know what
would say
happened.
that
So.
you couldn't be happier, right, with the relationship.
Yeah, because my mother didn't want me to go to the Philippines because people were getting
I wanna
kidnapped
say
in the
it's an honor
Philippines.
to have you. We're going to
So-
talk about trade today, and we're very close
And,
to finishing a trade deal, big trade deal actually.
When I was working my Amazon warehouse for 3 years, all the people was basically black people or Filipinos.
Income coming in for both,
Yeah.
for both groups.
And
But
I like half
surprised to see
Filipinos
the
and then
numbers
half
are big.
black people in that warehouse.
And, they're gonna get
I don't know
bigger
what they
and
did.
bigger, what we're doing and what we're
So-
proposing. And I just want to thank you for being with us. It's a great honor.
Also,
You
I
represent
don't know if the
us.
Philippine president needs to.
Great honor. We have a big announcement. AstraZeneca, the big drug company, is
Oh.
going to spend $50 billion, just announced $50 billion in the United States in order to build various places all over the country, big manufacturing plants,
Cool.
pharmaceutical plants all over the country. So that's an
Yeah,
honor.
we need that.
And he said they did that because of the election and because of the fact that the tariffs are placed. So they're building their facilities in New York, $50 billion.
You know, I heard the deal was really good for us.
And,
No
it's gonna
tariffs
be
for us,
a
and
very
then-
good investment. I have no doubt about it. So
Yeah.
thank you
For the
to
Philippines.
AstraZeneca.
Well, thank you
And
for the
with that, I'd
Philippine
like to
president.
say a few words, please.
So basically, it's the purchasing power parity correction.
To
So
be here to once again reaffirm the very strong ties between the Philippines and the United States. Ties, I think, go back over 100 years.
Yeah.
And considering the context in which we
Yeah,
live
I
these
mean,
days,
we
it's
totally
very
bail you out against the Japanese. I mean,
this has evolved. In
we have a history
the
together.
relationship as is possible to
I
have.
still need to go do that. I'm pretty sure I intervened on behalf of
Only our
what's his name?
only
No, Eisenhower.
partner in the Philippines.
Crap. What's the other guy?
That has stood
Eisenhower's in
us
Europe.
over
That other
years,
guy's name is
through,
crap. I know his face, but
certainly through the Second World War.
okay, yeah.
And the cultural memory of all Filipinos, down to even the school.
Douglas MacArthur. There we go. That's his name.
Our strongest, closest, most reliable ally has always
He I remember he saying he swore he would come back, and
that we value, that we are grateful.
I gotta
for,
help him win that.
and will continue to foster as we go on with the leadership of President Trump. I am very confident.
When I was young, when I was young, I didn't want to marry a Japanese woman. That would have been something. Imagine if I had married a Japanese woman, moved to Japan, not knowing I know what I see you smiling. We would have been so screwed. I would have helped the Japanese World War II probably, and I don't know what would have happened. Alexis went to Japan too, I think.
Since that time.
I wonder if it's because Apple Cranberry was used by a Japanese guy, Twitter account. My Twitter account, Apple Cranberry, is owned by a Japanese guy who has never tweeted. He has like 3 tweets or something. He never tweeted. I wonder if she went to look for that guy. I don't know.
Be here to visit with the president. Thank you, sir.
My great honor. Any questions?
Mr. President, do you think that Chair Jerome Powell should resign?
I think he's doing a bad job, but he's
Yeah.
going to be out pretty soon anyway. In
That's good.
8 months he'll be out.
But it's a term, so yeah, let's just wait then.
He's, I call
Sounds
him
like
too
a
late.
plan.
He's too late all the time. He should have lowered interest rates many times. Europe lowered their rate 10 times.
Yeah.
Ours none. And it's causing a problem for people who want to buy a home. Look, our economy is so strong now. We're blowing through everything. We're setting records. You know that. You see that. And whether it's the Philippines or anyone else, we're setting records at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But you know what?
Hey, if he's gonna be out
People
anyway,
want to buy a
might as
house
well just
because
go.
this guy is
See.
a numbskull. He keeps the rates
Yeah.
too high, and probably doing it for political reasons. The only time I remember him cutting rates, I mean, he cut the rates just before the election to try and help
Biden, yeah.
Kamala or whoever he was trying to
Yeah.
help. He probably did.
Come.
And he's building a building. He's $2.7 billion. They have a $900 million overrun. What is that? And that was
really bad.
by Biden. That was another Biden deal. And this guy's building this building that's severely
So what's the
overrun.
trade agreement?
And what
How's
does he
trade
need
deal
the
with
building for?
Philippines
What
and
is it?
Indonesia,
He
setting
needs
that
space for
kitchen?
more people. So they did a big study the other day, and they called all of the great intellects and the great economists and all of the great everything. And it was 71, and only 2 got it right. Me and another gentleman that happens to be very smart. 69 people got it wrong, and the Fed got it wrong, more wrong than anyone.
Oh, I know why you got it right.
You know, he has these think tanks.
Because I tell you the stuff in the future,
They
right?
build buildings for people that think, and it's really not thinking. It's a little bit of combination of thinking, but it's something you sort of have or you don't have. They don't. The job he's done is.
I don't
is
know.
terrible. He ought to raise interest rates. You know, we would.
Maybe that's why the
We should
pandemic
get
happened,
1%.
because Alexis
We
just
should
decided to
be
love
leading the
that
world.
super stupid man, you
We're
know.
paying 4%. And if you look at what that means,
That
that's
makes-
over
that makes some
$1
sense,
trillion
Mr.
in interest
President.
that we have to pay. That with the striking of a pen, we would be saving more than $1 trillion.
I wonder if that means I'm just gonna lose my 2012 timeline. I mean, I just not gonna remember what happened from 2012 because we're not restoring that timeline then. I'm hoping that means that my 2021 timeline is safe. That timeline comes from Transcendental Little Meditation people, which is sketchy as fuck, you know. I was in love with Diana in 2020 and then 2021, and I was so heartbroken over that. I went to learn Transcendental Meditation, and then after that, I started noticing that from yoga videos that the women were reacting to me, so I relearned it. Is that timeline safe? I have no idea. If it's not safe, we are so.
You show up one day, half a day, you make a little speech, the economy's doing well, the economy's not doing well, we're going to raise interest.
Yeah, I just realized I could have worked on it for 4 years. What the hell?
And it's really too bad. But it
Yeah,
is
I know.
affecting people that want to buy houses, and that shouldn't
very too
happen.
bad.
And Mr. President,
And you know, he should lower.
I mean, what's the answer? Does she break up with that man? Does that man get hit by a car and die? Anybody want to run over that guy with the car?
One question,
I mean,
Mr. President Marcos. Next year, Philippines is
I don't
going
know.
to be the rotating chair.
I have no idea. I mean, somebody's gonna run over that guy with the car, a motorcycle accident,
Relationship.
plane crash. I mean, I have no idea.
And for President
And I was telling Ellie Michelle that they figured it out, bro. Because,
they wouldn't rule out.
okay, I'm totally real talk to the lady, but think about it real hard.
Is such a meeting possible?
If Alexis and that man has a family, I would have told her in the past that they were happy, right? And I don't think they have that information. And I think I know why. There's three possibilities. Either Alexis died, so I don't want to talk to Alexis and tell her that she died and she can't save herself anyway. So I never talk to Alexis again. Either Alexis dies, or even her boyfriend dies, or I die. I mean, so there's four. If Andrew dies and they can't tell him, or there's a fourth possibility that's absolutely frightening. If she falls in love with that man and I give up, and it erases the entire timeline, then that means we're on a temporary timeline that has no future, and it's like, and that is the one that scares the shit out of me. It's better for me to die. It's better for Andrew to die. It's better for Alexis to die. It's better for that guy to die than for that fourth possibility of it cycling the entire timeline. If it cycles the entire timeline, we are so fucked, Nicole. Because there's a possibility. Because think about it real hard for a second. If you erase my past, the 2012 line can be erased. That means we can actually cycle the timeline. If Alexis loves that man stupidly and kills all of us, basically kills all. I mean, not kill. We would still exist. But basically, they might try to do it to make sure that Kamala Harris becomes president or something. Just trying it, not realizing what the consequences are. If they try it and they fail, Nicole, if they try to do this and they fail and they not knowing what the consequences, I mean, we would all be gone. I mean, we would all be gone.
Because we're getting along.
The version of us that exists now would all be gone. But
which is a little complex
yeah.
piece of material.
It frightens the shit out of me. Honestly, if Andrew can die and then nothing happens, that would even be a better.
If
I
the
know.
president dealt with China, that's meant because I think he has to do what's right for his country. I've always said, make the Philippines great again. Do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your dealing with China wouldn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's something that we have to do in any case.
Yeah. Chinese the Chinese are interesting. I don't
Do
know.
you support the Justice Department seeking
Anyway,
an interview with
that's
Ghislaine
it.
Maxwell? And did you urge the Attorney
Oh,
General?
I've been hearing about this. Apparently, it's a big news.
They're gonna. There's your.
I was telling Aaron Burnett on CNN, if you met with Epstein, it would be because I asked you to save a specific woman. Right, I mean, if there's a specific woman I wanted you to try to save, that's the only reason why you would be meeting him in the first place. But you can't explain that's why.
He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much.
But you can never explain why we're trying to save a
The
specific
witch hunt that you
woman.
should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way going up to 2020 in the election. And they tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. When we caught Hillary Clinton,
Can't really
I said,
explain how
what?
they're doing it though.
Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start after what they did to me. And
what did they try to
whether it's right or
do
wrong,
with
it's time to
Andrew
go after
and
people.
President Trump?
Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice.
That's messed
From your
up, but
perspective,
I don't know what they
who
did to my
should the
life.
DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based
I don't know,
on what
Andrew
I
doesn't
read,
know, yeah, so.
and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here. This was the room.
Clapper is
This
interesting.
much more beautiful than it was then, but that's
I leaked the information about
Those
Snowden to
pictures
Clapper.
that came out of the vaults.
I
They were
think
there for
Clapper
100
might have
years.
talked
This
to
is much more
Snowden
beautiful. We have the
So Snowden
Declaration of
became
Independence now in the room.
like a
Most
year
people-
later than it
most people
did,
feel
which
good
is
about putting it here.
absolutely astonishing.
But
I
you
mean,
know what? If you look at that, those
I mean,
papers,
that-
they have 'em
that would have
stone
affected
cold,
me in the
and
past, and,
President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too.
I mean, because I have this
But the
distinct
leader
memory
the
of something
gang
that's
was
completely different than what
President
history
Obama.
actually says. And
Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look.
Yeah, it says June 2013,
I like
so-
to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to.
That is not
obfuscate the
right. I
election.
mean-
They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents.
yeah, they're
He told me.
MSNBC's on TV right now. They do. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Tommy,
Don't.
So, President Obama, it
They tried to
was
replay this.
his concept, his idea, but he also got it from.
They tried to replay this
Hillary Clinton.
on the
It was a
MSNBC.
$3 bill. Hillary Clinton
Watching it on YouTube.
and her group, the Democrats, spent $12 million to Christopher Steele to write up a report that was a total fake report. Took 2 years to figure that
20
out.
more minutes of the
But
press
it came
conference.
out that it was a total fake report. It was made up
Oh.
fiction. And they used that. Now, the one thing they weren't able to do.
That's kind of
was-
sketchy, yeah.
Probably the only thing I respect about the press in years is the press refused to write it before the election. They refused to put it in. The Steele report was a disaster. All lies, all fabrication, all admitted, and admitted fraud. She paid $12 million and the Democrats for that report to a wise guy named Christopher Steele. He wrote a phony report.
I think the House is
They wanted to
going
get that
home.
report in before the election. And I'll tell you what, I talk about all the time, the fake news, how bad it is.
It looks
But
okay.
in this case, they wouldn't do it. They saw it, they read it, and they said, we don't believe it. And it
Wait,
was only after,
no.
substantially, like a month and a half after the election.
Did you actually use that
it
word?
got printed, and it was,
I don't
it
believe
was,
that.
It was just like a bang of nothing,
Yeah.
because the election had ended. If that report had gotten published by the New York Times or somebody, and I respect the Times.
Is there anything else on
only
the
this, 'cause
show?
They're crooked as you can be. They're a terrible paper.
Well, yeah.
A crooked, corrupt paper. But for this one moment, they
Is
said
that
this
even
is
25 bro?
bullshit, we can't put this in. And neither could any other paper. Wall Street Journal's a lousy paper, very, very dishonest paper. As you see, I'm suing them for a lot of money. It's
Yeah, I saw that.
Two things very.
I think
It's a really.
it's all
got a nice
no more
name,
Ally
but
Michelle
in
interviews.
my opinion, it's a terrible paper, and it can be corrupt. But just so you know, they
No more Ally
didn't
Michelle
take the
interviews.
Steele report. It was the dossier. Remember the famous dossier? I called it the fake news dossier. The news wouldn't publish it, and I'm amazed. They had 2.5 months. It was finished. 2.5 months. That was supposed to be what was going to happen. And it got published a couple of months after the election, and frankly, nobody cared too much.
Spiritual
about it.
gangster, huh?
But that was a big thing. No, we caught Hillary Clinton. We caught Barack.
Saw that
Hussein
one.
Obama.
That's one that saw that one.
And
Oh,
Barack
there's
Hussein
yoga.
Obama.
It's 6 years ago.
Susan Rice.
We know it was 6
They're all
years
there.
ago.
The names are all there. And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information and nobody will ever see it again, but it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because
Yeah.
this is big stuff. Never has a thing like this happened in the history of our country. And by the way, it morphed into the 2020 race. And the 2020 race was rigged, and it was a rigged election. And because it was rigged, we have millions of people in our country. We had inflation. We solved the inflation problem. But millions and millions of people came into our country because of that. And people that shouldn't have been, people from gangs and from jails and from mental institutions, people that we don't want in our country, and people that were getting out, dangerous people.
That is a big ass,
11,888
big ass computer
murders.
screen.
Many of them, 50%, more than 50%, murdered more than one person. I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but you know, they asked me a question. I got to answer the question.
Yeah.
No, Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden. And
That's
so was
audio,
the rest of
bro.
them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I won that election by a lot, I did it the third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the popular vote. But I won that all the same way in 2020. And look at the damage that was caused.
Well, Scott, are we getting a good deal with the EU? I mean, that's what I care about. I mean, this is really important too, but
as well as military air bases.
Look at ammunition.
you know,
Yes, the U.S. House Congressional Committee on
Philippines was important, Indonesia is important, all those other things are important,
Otherwise, we wouldn't
but
have
what about
approved it.
EU?
Yeah, it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't. We need ammunition. We're going to end up in a few months. We'll have more ammunition than any country has ever had. We're going to have more missiles than any country.
Yeah, because they're going so well.
We're going to have all the speedy missiles. We'll have the speedy ones, the slow ones, the accurate ones, the ones that are slightly less accurate. We have everything. But we will have more ammunition than any country has ever had. It's very important to me.
It's good that the caption is later. It's good.
Sir, when you say that you're close to making a trade deal, what gaps remain? And for President Marcos, sir, I was just wondering, do
Well, I
you
thought
think
you-
that perhaps the Philippines hosting U.S. missile systems could be considered escalatory by China, especially because they
Wait,
have
why do we
some-
need missiles in Philippines?
Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be with this gentleman. You know, I've known him, and I've known his family, actually, but I've known him. And I assume you're from the Philippines? Are you from the Philippines?
Yes, sir.
That's good. You're very lucky to be from the Philippines. Yeah, it's a great place. But we're going to have a very good relationship. I mean, I know you had some problems with another
Okay.
president,
It's AP News.
and it was not your fault. It was the president's fault. And the country was maybe tilting toward China, but we untilted it very, very quickly.
Yeah, I saw that. I
You
mean,
had a country that was tilting toward China for a period of time. And
yeah,
just don't
I
think
read
it
that,
would be
and
good for you.
I thought it was a timeline change.
Deal with China, but
So it was happening.
when I got
Yeah.
elected, everything changed and they came right back to us.
That's good. I thought it was a timeline change. Thought it was going on that
Say it
way.
again, yeah, Brian, go ahead.
I thought that the Philippines going to China was a timeline change. It wasn't.
Yes, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, because I thought it was a, what the hell? Why are the Philippines going to China? Because
Hosted in the Philippines could be considered escalatory by China.
All of the what we consider part of the modernization of the Philippine military is really as a response
Hosting
to the
missiles,
circumstances that surround
what are you telling
the
me?
situation around the South China Sea and now what we used to refer to as Asia Pacific, which we have expanded
Mm-hmm.
now to the Indo-Pacific. And
U.S. missile deployment, huh?
We would certainly, like in any kind of military spending, we would wish that it wasn't necessary, but it is. And so that is
Mid-range
what we are
capability
doing.
missiles
And
to-
adjunct to the question
what are they
about
deploying?
the ammunition production. This is actually the United States is assisting the Philippines in what we call our self-reliance defense program, which is to allow us to be self-reliant.
This
and
happened
to
in
be able to
April.
stand on our own 2 feet, whatever the circumstances that occur in the future, and the reason that we have all
Mid-range capability
we
system
have
for now.
encouraged more interaction with the United States is because it is necessary, and it is not just with the United States. It is with all
Wow.
the neighboring countries and even countries
SM6,
far
yeah.
afield as the Scandinavian countries, the EU.
Yeah, I know. This is the missile that Ukraine needs if you want to blow Putin.
And
We haven't given them to them, probably. I'm guessing. Yeah. SM3.
Because we feel it is necessary.
SM6. Oh, no, SM6.
Don't forget, this
SM6.
has tenement-
1,000 mile would be able to hit anything.
The Philippines were loaded up with ISIS and a lot of terrorists,
Wait,
and they were at very, very dangerous
really?
point.
Okay.
And during my administration, we went in and we wiped them out.
Oh, I remember that.
But we wiped them out.
I remember that. It wasn't called ISIS. It was like Philippine version of ISIS.
I don't know who would be.
I remember that now.
Who would be your president right now?
I know.
We spent a lot of time.
I remember that now. I mean, I was like,
going into the
what?
Philippines and wiping out terrorists. They had
Yeah.
a tremendous problem during my administration. And we
ISIS was a big deal back then.
now-
It's not so much
We
now.
really have a good, solid country again.
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, Islamic terrorism is really, really on the back foot. I will have to say, there's like, they haven't gone away, but they're not such a big deal anymore. They really aren't.
We have no tax on home sales, capital gains, to unleash the housing market.
Well, we're thinking about that, but would also unleash it just by lowering the interest rates. If the Fed would lower the rates, we wouldn't even have to do that. But we are thinking about no tax on capital gains on houses. And very impressed that you asked that question because nobody knew that. How did you find that out? That's right.
Did I tell you? God damn it.
Mr. Leaker.
Did I tell you?
Question. I find it a very interesting.
I suck, sorry.
We know more about two people at a Coldplay concert just hours
Is there more? Dude, that's hilarious.
One year after attempting
Oh.
to assassinate you. What is holding back the investigation on constructs?
Well, they've reported to me and they've told me things, and they really say they haven't found anything that was abnormal. I would say
That's
this
crazy,
the Secret
President
Service
Bauer.
was very brave because they, they were right there and they jumped on me. They made a mistake. They should have had somebody on that roof,
Yeah.
and they should have had communication with the local police, who also, they did a very good job, but they made some mistakes, and we have a whole different group of people now. I don't think look,
God, yeah.
anything can happen, but I think we have the best people anyway.
Did I ever tell you,
And I
my
think they
neighbor,
learned. And, they went in
the neighbor that lives downstairs and to my right,
did the whole thing. And what can I do? They say
that guy,
it was just a
they
nut
knew
job.
about
And I
Alexis
was
and
looking at this,
Ellie and
I spoke with the FBI, the new FBI. I spoke to the FBI, who was the old FBI.
anyway.
I wouldn't have believed a thing they said because the old
It's a long story
FBI
because I
had
remember
called
being
him
in a,
crooked, so
I remember
he was
being
one of the most crooked. Everybody should read the Horowitz report.
yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, Bill Barr didn't use it, but the Horowitz report, not appointed by
Mm.
me, it was a
Long
report
story.
on Comey and the FBI. It is one of the worst
Benny Blanco.
shots at a human being I think I've ever seen. In fact, the New York Times did an editorial that was one of the worst editorials I've ever seen about anybody. That was about Comey.
You know what there is the movie with Alexis.
And Barr didn't use it because he didn't have the guts to use it, or something happened. I don't know. Too bad. He went to Mr. Durham instead of doing the Durham. All they had to use is the Horowitz report. And I always felt badly for Horowitz, frankly, because he's a Democrat, I guess. He was appointed by a Democrat. But that report has gotten lost, and it shouldn't be lost. You should all go back. It should be mandatory
SM6,
reading.
SM6.
Go back and
No,
read
SM6.
the Horowitz report on Comey
SM3 is the
and his cronies. And you'll see exactly, we're going to add that
Shipped event,
to all the
so.
stuff that we found. It just confirms it. But what we found is even more so. Now, we found absolute, this isn't like evidence, this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup. And it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people, but Obama headed it up. And, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was this one. No, it was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country. And it really goes on to even the auto pen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started the same sick minds. You have an auto pen, which is a tremendous, well, we don't have a president, we have an auto pen that size everything.
We're still reading about the SSI mixes. I mean, how many missiles are we even fielding in the
Everybody,
Philippines?
who does it like you're the president of a country?
I bet China's gonna be pissed. I mean, they're already pissed.
Leading right up to the end of it is the auto pen, and the auto pen was used by people.
Because it's mass. If you deploy it, you still need enough missiles to actually
They were
Typhoon missile
signing
system.
documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the
Yeah, that's so cool. It's in a
Committee
truck and then
of liability. The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty, and he gave them all a pardon. The Cheney, all the scum that was on the Unselect Committee, Cryan, Adam, Kinzinger, and Democrats, and he gave them a pardon. Do you have something else?
One more thing on Adam Schiff. Director Pulte reports that Adam Schiff claims he lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Now, how does a family of four, you're a developer, very successful developer, how does a family of four live in a one-bedroom apartment?
Now, it looks like Adam Schiff really did a bad thing.
wow, that's a lot of missiles. 800 SM-6 missiles. That's
Now, let's see what happens. It's not
How many
up to me.
ships
It's
did
not
he
up to- I stay out of
know?
it purposely. But it's mortgage loan fraud. It's a big deal. He
how many
defrauded
surface ships.
banks and insurance companies and the federal government. But it's very simple. It's mortgage loan fraud. And you're right. It's a lot of people to live in a one-bedroom apartment, right? But he put it down. But he has a lot of other things far worse than that. So, no, Adam Schiff-
370 surface ships and submarines, 100 surface combatants, destroyers and corvettes,
No,
53
if there's anybody else in
destroyers,
this room except
50
you,
corvettes,
you would have
50,
no
lots of
problem.
corvettes though.
But anybody else in this room, you'd have a problem.
But one missile
You'd have a
shouldn't
problem.
sink a destroyer because of the. If you fire a missile at a destroyer, American destroyers to take a missile hit, at least one missile hit. How good are their
No, I'm not even.
destroyers? I don't even want to think about this. I mean,
$7 billion
you need multiple missile hits to sink a
$7
vessel.
billion.
So
And we want money to go to all universities, not Harvard. Harvard got more than anybody else. They have $52 billion. They get huge tax incentives and tax.
it wouldn't work. Missiles that I
They
was
have
just thinking of missiles that hug the waves would not work because
And they
of
got
high
$7
seas.
billion over a short
Waves
period
would
of
take
time.
it down.
And we have a very
So-
hostile judge appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, a very, very hostile judge who knows exactly right from wrong, but.
Unless you have a torpedo
we
missile.
expect to win it on appeal. She hasn't given a decision yet, but she's very hostile, and she was put by Barack Hussein Obama, and generally speaking, anybody.
Yeah,
that
I don't
does
know.
that, we're gonna have.
I don't really want to.
So we don't expect to have.
Plan for a war
We
with
won the
China, you
case
know. Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, anybody that was there, that was a neutral, would say we easily won the case. But a lot of the case and.
Oh, I don't like it that I'm have to think
How much
about.
money Harvard gets in the future, that's not part of the case, and they're not gonna get very much.
You know that is messed up. I mean, we deploy missiles to the Philippines, and the U.S. news doesn't cover it at all. They cover all
With
this.
who?
Cover Epstein instead of covering. I mean, about
Are you
Philippines. I
from
mean,
the Philippines?
Yes, right, in the Philippines so far.
I know they should be covering actual stuff that's important. I mean, I didn't even know about the missiles till you all told me. American news is all for President
In fact, I used to like him better than I do now. He's too young.
Marcos.
But
Yeah.
we'll probably
Marcos,
do
pretty sure.
something. But he is a strong negotiator. He loves your country.
President Philippines Marcos, right?
No, please.
Yeah, it is Marcos. I didn't remember. Oh, part of the Marcos.
Your views, what are the next steps now that these documents are out there? Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, the Justice Department would have to act. We have a very competent, very good, very loyal to our.
I wonder if they would
person.
still do it if I tell them they're going to be prosecuted
Very
for this.
respected, and she, it's gonna be her decision.
This is making me really, really sad. I mean, basically, I mean, what is the future? Is she going to break up with that guy, or is just like, I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
Continue to push sanctuary policies after this really tragic incident.
So the only thing I don't understand, because you like to understand things and
Yeah.
we're smart people and all that,
I know.
why would they allow 21 million people into our country, unvetted, unchecked? You don't allow it. You wouldn't allow people that.
Yeah.
No, the country's run properly. Biden and his group of thugs, and I don't think it was Biden, I think it was the people that surrounded that beautiful,
Yeah.
resolute desk right behind you. They allowed 21 million people, probably much more than that, and many of them came from jails and gangs, drug dealers, and mental institutions, insane asylums. Many of them are very sick. 21 million, probably 25 million, probably even more than that. And we're getting them out. Many were murderers, as I said. They killed people. Many killed more than one person. Stone cold murders. I don't understand why they would have allowed that. There's only two reasons to vote.
Yeah.
Is there one voters? It's one reason. I don't think they would have done it for that because they cheat. You know, they're so good at cheating, they don't need that. But the vote, and the second reason is they hate our country. I think they hate our country.
They hate
And it's the biggest
white
problem.
America, basically.
Much of our time is spent with, you know, we have the strong. It's
like some sort of self-hatred.
Maybe even stronger than your border, if you can believe it. We have no people came in last month, zero.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. I'm not even sure I can believe that, but
Zero,
no
well,
people to do that calculation. So,
If we don't run into them, it doesn't count, right? If they,
no
they
people
got through,
come.
we don't even know
a
they got
year
through.
ago,
That
we had
doesn't
hundreds
count,
of
but
thousands of people come in. Hundreds of thousands of
zero
people.
let go.
And
That's
they
good.
floated, and if it wasn't for the election, it would have been millions of people came in last year. So millions of people
How
prior
much?
to
How's
the
our
election
deportation?
time, they allowed millions and millions of people to come into our. I mean, you saw it.
742 removals.
If you took an Alabama LSU football game that holds 128,000 people, I was there, 128,000 people, and I like them and they like me. But if you took that and doubled it, that's what used to flow into our country on a daily basis.
That's a lot of people.
And we're getting
Wait,
them out.
monthly,
We're
man,
starting
monthly,
with the worst
sorry,
ones, and we
monthly,
had a man
right?
shot yesterday, a police officer who was great gentleman, shot right here in the throat. Probably won't be able to speak again, but he was
Oh, no.
brave and he shot the other guy, and they ended up getting him. And you saw the scene where
Vocal cord.
his friend took him to a hospital and dumped him down on the sidewalk. The whole thing was crazy. But why would anybody do to our country what these Democrats have done? And honestly, we can never forget it. We can never forget it. What they have done, the damage that they've done to America is very, very sad. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yep, it is over. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Who we talk to? Yeah. Hold on. Okay, back to it. Okay, back to doing this. Okay, one more. Okay.
The American Secretary of State
Hi.
are representing American interest and the interest.
This ought to start auto playing in the background without sound, so hopefully you don't hear me twice. It's July 22nd, Tuesday, 3:22 p.m. Part of this start auto playing in the background when it's minimized without the sound. So no telepathic connection, right? Because this started auto playing when it's minimized and without sound, so it play through like a lot punch, but hopefully that has means you don't hear me twice.
Who was the defense minister of Russia?
Anyway,
He loved basketball and sports,
really,
and so I'm also a sports
I
fan.
totally forgot. I did not catch his
So
name,
we
but
would often start the conversation with talking about the
Defense
latest
minister.
basketball. He loved the NBA, and it helped a little bit to establish that we were both human beings. And it wasn't
It's on the
going to
Putin,
change
though.
basic Russian positions. It wasn't going to change my basic positions. It was going to ease the tension in the room just a little.
I don't think he.
I will never forget.
I don't think he's the.
And the Russians
It's
had
July
decided
22nd,
to
2025.
in July to a performance of the Nutcracker.
Oh, I love the
And
ballet.
it was a long season, and,
Andrew really
it
loves the
was going
ballet.
to be the
I used to love.
beautifully redone
In
Mariinsky
college,
Theater in St. Petersburg.
In college, I
Sergei
used
said
to.
me,
In college, I used to go watch the
"Do you
ballet at
dislike
the Orange County
Nutcracker as much
Performance
as I
Hospital.
do?" And I said yes. So we slipped out and we went to a more modern ballet company and watched them perform. We came back
Hi.
and we
Hi.
sneaked
Hi.
back in just
What's
before the
Alice
curtain
the Federal
came down.
Agents?
And as I was
Alice,
leaving,
something
Putin said to me, "So did you enjoy the ballet?" I couldn't lie, so I said, "Mr. President, actually, Sergei and I left and went someplace else to watch another ballet." And Putin said, "Why didn't you take me with you?" And so I felt you could sometimes have levity in the relationships, but it helped. It helped to try to get people to know
Oh
people as
man.
human beings, even though you
Yeah,
sometimes had to have
Alexis
very
did classical ballet for quite a long time. And I think that's
There
probably
are
one
things
part of
that
the reason.
happen when you become Secretary of State, you have absolutely no idea that you have
Wanted to be marry a ballerina, basically. I wanted to marry a ballerina.
forum that we go,
Andrew,
and I had decided I didn't want to go because they had already accepted Burma, and I had
Oh,
consented
Burma's in
to them,
trouble. I mean,
and they said no, you absolutely have to go. So then somebody in the department said,
there was
to
an
me,
earthquake and
"You do realize that at this every country
Hi?
has to put
What
on
is
a
this?
skit." At the
Madeleine,
last
Albright,
dinner.
they're
The United
playing-
States always does very badly.
oh, Southern probably
And so
lost it
I
and they're
did
playing
it,
this
and they
again.
said,
And,
"Yes, you have to." So then
I have the TV on because if I only have you on and recording, it's gonna flag for copyright.
And so as we're flying over, my delegation, we figured out that I would sing "Don't Cry for Me, Asianes." I got dressed up as Madonna, and the delegation
Like
sang
Argentina?
with me, the chorus, and it actually worked, and people were stunned. And
Huh.
that year, Primakov has really
Prima
stupid
Voice,
skit,
Voice,
that all
Primakov.
he did was have a whistle to whistle at the Black Sea Fleet. So
Oh.
then we decided that
Oh,
the
God.
following year we would do a skit together that had never been done before. So on the margins of really important meetings, we were talking about what we were going to do. So we
I
decided
don't know. I
to do our
mean,
version
Alexis is part
of
German,
the
part
West
Russian.
Story.
I don't
We
know
call it
if
the East-West story.
we had a
And
better
also,
timeline.
ASEAN Regional Forum is always held in a different country. So that year it was held in Manila, and we went to.
Oh, the
General
President Trump today literally met the Philippine president today. We are deploying SM-6
and then the next day, we
intermediate
did this,
range
and
missiles in
the
the Philippines.
delegations had a
Apparently,
bumble. And then I came out singing
1,000-mile
"Me,
range.
the most
So
beautiful city
nothing
I
bad
ever
with
had."
China, no.
And he
But,
came out singing Madeleine Albright, Madeleine Albright. I just met a girl called Madeleine Albright. And we kidded about it. We did for a long time, even
Madeleine's
as
a
we were
pretty
having
name,
some
yeah.
very serious problems. And people loved it. And literally, we would be having meetings on Iraq or something, and then on the sides, we would talk about how to do our version of the West Side Story. And so having those kinds of relations makes a difference.
You know, you go through so much.
Oh my God, this President
serious,
Putin looks so different now.
Trying conversations with
President
these
Putin looks so
people
different
that
now. He's
are
all-
very, very
he's
hard
so-
indeed. And even with your allies, you're sometimes having conversations that are not so pleasant. You're having to say you're not going to support something that they want. And so the two lessons that I would take from it is, first of all, try to have a relationship before
you ask for
somebody
something.
to do something hard. And secondly, try in moments when you can to establish a sense of humanity, of humor, of things that are absurd. It just serves you well when things get hard.
I think
I
it's
will try to
very
remember that.
important
I mean, I don't
to
know.
have those relationships, because the truth is a lot of diplomacy is hard. And it is
Yeah, I don't
dealing
know because
with issues
normal
that
human
are
beings, if somebody doesn't like
difficult to
you,
deal
you just
with
go
in
move
many
on
ways.
and
Otherwise, it wouldn't really be the secretary.
find
of
somebody
State
else to marry,
who's
right?
more
Somebody else
minister
single
for
and
dealing with them. And the part that I think is very
I did
hard
not
for
know how
people to
fragile
believe
my past
is
was.
you travel to a country, you have this meeting, and it all begins with a lot of small talk. You know, the weather's nice, or men compare ties or something. and you know that you came to that country in order to deliver a message of some kind.
South Korea.
And so I had my own way of doing that. I would say, I have come a long way, so I must be frank. And then we would go through the part that absolutely had to be done. Some of the
Yeah,
meetings are a
because you
bit
do it
artificial,
chronologically, it's probably
but it
better
does
for
help
something
if you've known the people before. It's possible and important, I think, to have.
That's an interesting question. I do not know the
with
answer.
friends
If
and allies.
because you want to be able to
and
love
with,
anybody you
those
want.
that are
Human
really
beings
very
should be able to
difficult.
love whoever they want. I did not know. Maybe to learn before asking something difficult. Yeah. Community humor, reconciling differences and agreements.
My parents and
Oh
me
wait,
took
one second, hold
over
on,
a
1
restaurant.
second. Starting up again, reconciling.
When you're a diplomat, you need to build consensus often with people with whom you disagree. And there is no skill that is more lacking.
It's still it's July
than the ability to sit
July
and
22nd,
listen,
2025.
have
July
different
22nd,
views,
2025.
and to be able to
July
come to some
22nd, 2025. No. Reconciling differences and disagreements.
I have been very concerned.
It's 3:29 p.m. Tuesday now.
Tolerate differences. I don't like the word tolerate. That means put up with. I think it would be
Values
interesting
and
to kind of
character.
respect
So what Andrew
differences
values?
and find out what
Andrew
the
values
basis of them really
sincerity,
is.
honesty.
It's
I have
very
values sincerity and
important
honesty. I
with
try to be
somebody
as
that
honest
you
as I
know
can.
that you have disagreements with, is to find
And
out
I expect
what
that from
the
other
basis of
people,
their
but
thinking is, why they think it, and not necessarily try to persuade them
yeah.
to think the way you think, but to figure out whether it's possible and actually important.
What is doable?
to
I
try
remember
to
that
solve
principle.
problems
Doability
with people
principle.
with whom you have different views, because
Yeah.
it enlarges the scope of the decision.
How do I do that with the Ayatollah of
It's
Iran,
important to be
Condi?
careful what we're really
How?
talking about here.
I know.
So Madeleine is
The Ayatollah of Iran has diametrically
And,
opposing
very
views
often
with
people
women's
have
rights and
principles
if
and
Israel
values, which
exists.
I think we do.
How do I do that?
And
I
still
mean,
have policy differences. But these
Mm,
days,
how do
one of the
I-
problems
I
and
don't
one
know.
of the reasons that I think it's so fraught and feels so polarized is that rather than saying, all right, we may have the same set of values, the same principles here, we disagree about this policy. So let's talk about whether we can come to some agreement on this policy. We quickly go to our corners and assume
values are interesting.
that
Democratic
they are
values and Republican
violating
values
my
are
principles,
so.
or you are violating
Anyway.
my principles. And I think that's one of the problems that we're having.
I think
Yeah.
it's very important to try to figure out why people think what they do,
Okay.
and then see whether there's any way not to be rude and say, I can't work with this person, but see whether there's any way to
Thank you for trying
reconcile
to teach me
some
that,
of the
yeah.
differences. I do think the part of what you're trying to
It might be too
generally
late if you're
is to
in
reconcile.
4 years
I
or
wrote
somebody.
a book about fascism, a warning. I was trying to figure out the history of a lot of this. What would happen is you had a leader who basically has decided that will have nothing to do with those with whom you differ. And that's why I have made
That
a
I
big
don't
point
have
of
a
saying
problem
that you
now.
have to have discussions, respectful
Listening,
ones with people that you differ from, and try to figure out what it's really about. And I also think we shouldn't be afraid of differences if they are not violent, or if they can be well explained. The problem
In
is that we
in our
don't
future,
have
the
those
Democrats are getting quite rather
genuine
violent.
discussions.
So
And I just have to say, in my own case, people will not believe this, but I spent a lot of time with Jesse Helms, and we disagreed about practically everything. When I first started as UN ambassador, Jesse Helms was just a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. When I was at the UN, I had gotten a call from a women's college in Raleigh asking me to come and speak. And I didn't know whether I really could do it or not, but Jesse Helms called in order to really make clear that I should do it. And I said to him, frankly,
why?
I wouldn't mind doing it if you came with me. And he said, well, that's kind of an interesting idea. And he called back a bit later and said, I've changed my schedule, I'm coming with you. So he had to introduce me. And when somebody's introducing you, they
Joe
don't say
Biden.
this is the dumbest person that I disagree with. Couldn't have been nicer, and I knew that some of the things I was saying about the UN was something he probably didn't like. But what was interesting, not long after that, he asked me to come and speak at his alma mater, Wingate College. And he said, I'll pick you up and we'll drive there. So we're driving around North Carolina looking for barbecue places. And when we were getting out of the car, he'd had a hip operation or something. He was having a hard time moving, and I helped, put my arm around him. And so there were stories, the odd couple. We started talking about things, and there were things flat out that he disagreed with, the Chemical Weapons Convention, and I was not afraid to talk about it. I thought I had to. Then what happened, when he was by then chairman, he said, Ms. Madeleine, we will make history together. And we really got to know each other very well. We did disagree on an awful lot of things, but we worked together. And if you watch some of the tapes from the hearings, he would be winking at me or smiling at me. And then when my term was over, they applauded. And so I considered him ultimately somebody that I was able to work with very well. And I have always believed in bipartisanship. I thought it was very important, and I think it's important now.
Groupthink and the importance of differences. Now that is an interesting thing.
I often
Groupthink,
say to my students, if
What
you're
about
constantly
people?
in the company of people who say amen to everything you say, find other company, because
Phew.
you may find
No
that
shit.
what you think needs to be debated with someone
Yeah.
else who may not share.
Is it
the same
possible
views.
for me to love
And you
somebody
might
else and
find
Alexis
that
has
you're
chosen
all
something?
looking for the same
Do I really need my
thing. You all
2012
want
pass?
to solve the
So
problems of inequality. You all want to solve issues about climate change and sustainability.
hi, Mr.
but
President.
you have
Listening to
different
Condi.
ways of getting
July.
there.
I'm listening to
There is
Condi.
nothing wrong,
Condi and Rice.
During a decision-making
Sorry, I'm
process,
Master class.
hear
So
different points of view. The last
TV.
thing you want, as you're trying to make some very, very difficult decisions, is what people call groupthink, where everybody
I don't know.
approaches
Something
a
I want to
problem
ask.
similarly and does not think
Is it possible
about
for
the
me to
unintended
talk to myself?
consequences of the decision.
I don't
And
know.
there are
Can I talk
periods
to
of
myself? I've
history,
never really
where
tried.
people think there was too much groupthink on something.
If I can talk to myself,
during
can
the
you
Kennedy
imagine what
administration
that would
and
mean?
Cuba
I don't know
crisis.
if Andrew can talk to himself. I
So
tried.
I think when
I've
leaders
never
are in order to
noticed.
really have
What would it
valid
be like?
decisions, it is important to bring in other voices and then really listen to what they have to say. We've all been in the
I don't know
meetings
if I can talk to
where
myself. If
it
Andrew
isn't
can talk,
just a
record
matter
a
of
video,
what
I
you
must like
say
give myself
to
lottery
people,
numbers.
but
That's
it's
what I'm
the
trying
way
to
you
do
treat
because I
them
won't
and
be
the way
poor
you look.
anymore.
You can look dismissive without
Andrew would like some money as a
and
Andrew would
so
love some money as a
part of this
like
is
a
important,
you know
and
like a
to make
like a
clear
backup, you know,
that
so that I
when
don't have to
you
worry
invite
about
different
money.
people
If I can
into
win
having a
the lottery,
discussion, you've done it because you
I would
wanna
not
hear their
be worried about
voices,
being so
not to
poor
just
that I have to
kinda
go
check a
work
box
and waste my
say, "I've
time
talked to
with
X,
something
I've
else.
disagreed with that person forever. But,
So,
but really make it a point of getting together
I'm
to
listening to. I'm still
catch those
listening.
different voices.
That what that's
And
principle you're
that's
teaching me.
true
I already
in
have.
everyday life.
I already
It's
listened
good if you
to.
bring people from different
This
backgrounds
principle
and
I actually have.
experiences as well.
Because
One of the conversations
I
that
remember
we're
being a
always
Democrat when I
having
was
these days is
young.
about whether or not you make better decisions if you have diversity.
Yeah,
Uh,
you absolutely do. I
ethnic
have
diversity,
to say yes.
diversity,
Democrats and
diversity of
Republicans too. I
experiences,
will have
and
to.
I think that you do. And,
Andrew was a
I'll
Democrat
give
when I
you
was young,
one
and
example
when you
from
were
my
you
own,
when
time
President
in
Bush was
government.
president.
When I was National Security Advisor,
Yeah.
we would meet
I was a
weekly
Democrat.
to decide the schedule for the president. As you might imagine, he was asked to do thousands and thousands
Yeah.
of things, and somebody had to sort and say, what
I
would you do,
know,
what would
right?
you
If I
say,
had,
or
if I
what
won
would
the
you say
lottery,
instead?
I would be able to
And it came
hire
that
some
it was
people
going to be
to.
the 40th anniversary of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And my colleagues said, oh, well, the really important act is 1965, the Voting Rights Act. So we can just issue a paper statement for 64.
The one
I
with.
hit the roof. I said, do you not realize that the 1964 Act was the one that finally allowed my parents and me to go to a restaurant in Birmingham, Alabama? It was called the Public Accommodations Act. It was the one that ended Jim Crow, ended segregation in public accommodations. And it meant so much to me because that was a part of my experience. I was so vociferous in putting this forward that everybody just said, okay, fine, we'll do a real ceremony for the 1964 Act. And we invited President Johnson's daughter, Lyndon Baines Johnson, because Johnson had been the president that signed that act. But I thought to myself, without my particular experience as an African
That
American
moment
from the South,
wouldn't have been
the
there.
president would have missed that opportunity to have a ceremony on one of the truly great moments in American history. It's very clear that we have to learn to have.
This is going to be a hidden gem, and
where even shades of
in history, the
may-
emotions I
because
feel.
These
that
issues
moment.
are important. They're emotional.
Yeah,
But one
I
thing
felt
that
some
we've
emotion
seen,
there.
I think with Madeleine and with me.
It's been
is that
hard days
we
for
have
me, so
enormous respect for each other, and
yeah, this
I
will be one of the
never question
last.
Madeleine's motives.
I know.
I believe she
I will
sees
try to
these
spend the
things in a
rest of
way
my
that
life,
she
whatever
does
life I
have
have left,
experience,
Madeleine,
having
making you proud of me.
examined
So,
them, and I believe she would say the same about me.
I
And
I
even
still
though
have quite a
ours
lot to
comes
do,
from
I
just
believe.
A
and,
very long time knowing each other, deep ties. You can model that even with
I don't
someone
know,
that
right?
you don't know. When you're in a conversation and it gets
I
a
don't
bit
think Alexis
difficult
really
and you
knows who I
disagree,
am,
try to give the other
who I'm going to
person
be.
the benefit
You
of the
know.
doubt. Try to step back and not
Yeah.
question their motives. We used to have a saying.
Yeah,
that
but
was
she
called
probably
the
doesn't
golden
know.
rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Treat that person like you would like them to treat you when you're in that kind of conversation.
I think
We
I need to do
agree
that. I
on an
mean,
awful lot of
woman that
things
would have spent the
because,
rest of my loving, maybe
we
not
have
anymore,
an
get to
approach
anymore,
about
but I still
what
love
the
her.
United
So
States should do.
it's
what the
just
problems are.
fate, you know. Somebody
But I have
somebody
to
found
just
out
tell
about
you
the future and
that
decided,
from
oh,
the very
let's throw a
beginning,
little bit of monkey wrench in the
I have
future. Wonder what
respected
happens. So
Congress' choices. So, for instance, when I found out she was a
Choices, yeah.
Republican, I said, why? And
I
she
remember
gave the answer, which is that your party took us for granted. And I took that on board. And so
African Americans were
I
gonna-
think
I
that
think they
you
might
learn
have.
when you find a disagreement. And you
Because
don't see it as
African Americans really
but
that much better off, and
learn something.
the Democrats.
Find out
I don't know if y'all know about
X
Sean Diddy
person has
Combs
a
and
different
Kanye
opinion,
West, and then
and really kind
even
of draw
Jay Z. Hi, Carol. I'm talking to Madeleine
what
Albright.
the background
Oh.
of it is. In
Talking to
order
Madeleine
be able
Albright.
to
I'm
have
talking
a
to Madeleine
discussion.
Albright and learning
Not
from
every
Madeleine.
discussion has to be
I'm
an
learning from
argument.
Madeleine Albright. So
It has to
sorry.
be
It's the TV. MSNBC is
opportunity
going over something. I don't know what they're
delve
going
into
over. Things. So.
where the other person is coming from.
I have to put
I
something
to
else
admit
on the
it
thing
isn't
so that
always
it's
easy.
it doesn't get
Because
flagged for
people have
copyright
said,
because automatically
some
if
perfectly
I'm pretty sure
good
Masterclass will
things
be
and
able to
how could I
scan
possibly believe this? I
scan
can't talk to
the
them.
internet for anything that, but if
but
I
I
add
do
other
think
footage
it's
or other
very
things on there, they will
important to
not
do
be
so.
able to
One of the things
analyze the
as former
video. So
secretaries, when we were secretaries, we had to go and testify on the Hill. And you certainly never had everybody ask you friendly questions.
yeah,
You
I've
fully
noticed
included
that.
them. But the important part is to listen with respect and then try to figure out why and where that person is coming from and answer the question in a respectful way.
Madeline
Yeah.
is so right about when you're in a situation and somebody's saying things that are difficult to hear or
Yeah, I'm talking over you. So
it's important not to try to take it personally. It's also, when you're Secretary of State, you're also tired some of the time.
yeah,
No, you
Andrew was
flew
tired all the time.
8 hours someplace and you get off the plane and you go immediately into some meeting with some relatively disagreeable person about some unsolvable problem that
Yeah.
you have been working on.
For
And
decades.
every bone in your body just wants to lash out at
my
that
God.
person, but you can't do it.
Okay.
Madeline nicely said that she's never seen me lose my cool. Well, that's because I waited until I got back to the hotel to lose my cool.
Oh,
But
man.
it is absolutely the case that you have to realize that
This is so
human
hot,
beings
yeah.
are human beings.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's good.
when you are talking to somebody and maybe they sounding disagreeable, you don't know what else is going on with them and in their lives.
Yeah.
And so
Personal livelihood is not helping
is
with the
also, I think,
situation.
something that we perhaps lost.
When you find out that, yeah. Golden rule. One more time. Number 10. So, go to
And
number
so
10.
I arrived.
Being there first. Okay. I'm gonna start at number 10 today, and so I remember all those things that you're teaching me. So, because if I do too many of this, I will not be able to remember all of them. So.
Very difficult problems.
It's July 22nd, Tuesday, July 22nd, 3:44 p.m. Was July 22nd, Tuesday, 3:44 p.m. So I'll finish this one.
Issues systematically.
It's trying. Then I think
And then I have to say,
over a
what I
few
find
days, so I
interesting
absorb all
and
this stuff. So I
feel
absorb
this way
this
about
stuff.
other former secretaries of state is how you saw the department, because it's not a simple place. How we dealt with the departments, and I think that we learned from
The last
each
one you were
other.
teaching me,
It
and
continues learning from the
I'm listening.
Albrights, because of course I learned an enormous
Because
amount.
the problem I want to solve
But,
is if Alexis
that
is
would
chosen
lead
decision
us,
to love another
exude
man,
a sense
is it
of,
possible to not
confidence,
affect me,
in
affect my
myself, in the
superpowers, and
department,
then
and in America.
so that I can still function for my
And,
country
maybe it is because
without-
you were a refugee.
I don't know.
but
That's the
is
thing.
so
If it happened once
integral to
before,
who you are.
if I lost
that
my
it just
entire
comes
past, if I lost
And
her for my
there's
life,
nothing that's,
what
made up
happens?
about
Is
it.
it
There's
just
nothing
some the
that is
contact that I have with her
authentic
now
about it. It's
already? Is
truly
already
authentic and
enough?
organic.
Or
And
is
I
there
think that's why
more?
he was such a successful Secretary
Anyway.
of State, because people could see it.
That is what I don't
You
know.
also have one.
Are we
electoral
still in danger of being
electorate,
erased?
say,
Or the
of
world
first
still
woman
being in danger of
to
being
hold
erased?
this job. That could have been a very tough.
That
thing.
frightens
Well, I
me.
can't believe that I had
The
that
frightening thing if it
opportunity,
happens again and I erase
Because,
myself again,
by the
basically.
way, when
By giving
people
up
say
our
the
love
word
story,
ambitious,
we get
it's
erased, and then
something that
we end
men,
up with an even
uh,
worse time, not just the
say
pandemic.
lovingly or
Because this is November
kindly to other
2021st.
men, but if they
The
call
Omicron
women
variant is about to
then
rise in
it's,
South Africa,
supposed to be
Botswana. Omicron variant.
derogatory
It
and
is
so
so much more
But it had
contagious
never
than
occurred
the.
to me that I could be Secretary of
we-
State.
It is
But
so
I
much
do
more
think
contagious.
That it was interesting to be
In
the
you're
first
filming this in
to
November,
realize
and that
something is
that variant is
that
just
you
about
know
to
that
start
people
hitting the
will watch
U.S.
it,
and by
and you're
January
trying to
it will be
figure
so
out,
contagious. It will
how you
be.
behave,
It's
in
a
way
completely
that
different
you're
virus
representing your
almost. And,
country, but at the same time, so that
so
people
this will be the last
understand who
most
you
dangerous
are.
contagious wave for Omicron.
And,
November
it isn't that
2021st is what you
simple,
told me you were filming
frankly.
this.
I mean, a
So
lot of it has to
the
do
Omicron variant is
with
really
how
bad,
you,
and it stops dying down
respond
in
to the people in the State Department.
February
By the way,
20.
there were a lot of questions. as
That
to
might be
whether
the
a
reason
woman
why
could be Secretary of State. They
Putin's.
said a woman couldn't be Secretary of State because Arab leaders wouldn't deal with a woman.
uh,
Well, that went away.
I told
And
that.
then somebody
I remember that when they said they went away.
who said yes, Madeline's on the list. But
Anyway,
she's
I know now
secretary.
why
So I
Putin
was sure I would never be
invented. That's the peak of the
Secretary of State.
Omicron
There
pandemic.
is kind of a questioning as to how did she get there and I didn't, and especially from some people who thought they should be Secretary of State. So it isn't always pleasant. But you've been
The
chosen,
peak of
and
the
you wanna do
Omicron
the
variant
best
is when
possible job.
just about
And-
when
and
Putin
I think
invades
we need
Ukraine.
to
So
listen to what some of the
when
criticisms
Putin invaded,
might
that's
be,
the peak of the
and then
Omicron
avoid
variant.
those
So
that
it
you
stopped
think
dropping
are
right after
just
that. That might be why
petty. But
he
it does
invaded.
happen.
So
And that might be a lesson for.
that's why February
some of our
24th,
students out there
2022 is
who are
when Ukraine gets
different,
invaded.
That
is the peak of the Omicron variant. It's really, really contagious.
Sometimes being a
Really
first,
contagious. About
it's not actually because you really intend
Like,
to
our
be
knot
first.
could
You
be
just
up
wanna
to
be Secretary
16.
of State,
reproductive
but
number means
you
one
end up
person getting
being the
Omicron
first,
can
and
infect
so
16
the-
people.
It's a little
Maximum
bit
R
delicate
naught is
because you
16.
do know that everybody's
It's about
watching.
3.6
I know
average
that,
or
in our class
something.
there may be
3.6 no.
people who were the
3.6
the
times
first,
more contagious than the
women to
original, so
be,
about
the
7
college
Omicron
class
7 to 10.
president or whatever.
R naught
So
7 to
it's-
10
It's
average.
important to
3.6 times
recognize it,
more
to own that
contagious than
you're
the
the
original
first,
one. So
not to be overwhelmed by
yeah.
it, and also
anyway.
not to assume
That's
that
something bad's
you're
gonna
only going to
happen
learn
just
from people
after
who
you
look
film
like
this
you.
in the virus. I mean,
I often laugh.
South
at
Af-
that
it's
if
called
I can
Omicron
wave
in
a
South
black female
Africa,
specialist role in
Botswana.
that
That's where it comes from. So
So
it
my
spreads
role
all over the
models
world.
were white
Sorry.
men, including your dad,
Yeah.
because those were the people who cared about
Yeah.
me, and so there's a trick
Yeah,
to being
yeah,
first and being successful. But
try
at
to
some
try to
point
keep
you
it very
just
very
have to be
safe
the
for the
Secretary of
Omicron
State,
variant.
and
Get
that's
vaccinated.
the
Get absolutely get boosted.
And,
Get boosted. I
actually,
mean,
the truth is that
I mean, I don't know about
models were white men
Madeleine.
also, because I didn't know Eleanor
Talk to your
Roosevelt,
doctor, Madeleine,
but
about what you
basically,
need to do. So.
there were not a lot of women that
Because
could
you
be
should be
role
sick right
models.
now. You're not
And by
telling
the way,
people, so.
speaking of kind of college experience, Georgetown had been a single-sex school, and all of a sudden it became co-ed, and they needed.
I'm getting advice
a role
from
model,
all the
which is
women,
how I
as many
got
women
a
as I
job at Georgetown in the
find
first place. And I thought, well, I've never been a role model before. But I do
Yeah.
think that sometimes it is important to see people that are also going through the same thing. And it
I
happens
wanted to
everywhere.
restore the
And
divine
therefore,
feminine
those kind
into
of
the world.
experiences
Sacred
are transferable.
feminine. I think I might have failed, so. Anyway.
My parents
Extraordinary,
were quite extraordinary. I wrote a book about them called Extraordinary Ordinary People, because in a lot of ways they were ordinary people, but they just
Let me
had
tell.
this very,
One second, let me pause and see
I
how
would almost say
expensive the book is. I'm so
exaggerated
poor,
views
so.
of what I could do. I was also
Yeah.
an only child, and
Oh.
so
Extraordinary. Ordinary people.
when I was
It's
4 years old, I was elected president of the
$15.
for the first time. There was actually an election. Everybody got to vote. It was secret
Oh my
ballot. There were no term limits, so I kept getting elected president.
Narrated by Condeleezza
And it
Rice,
had big
audiobook.
responsibilities.
October.
So, for instance,
It's not too
if we were
expensive.
going
I'm not
to
that
leave
poor,
for
so.
Denver,
me see if it's
Friday,
cheaper
the
on
next
audio.
morning, we had a family meeting. What time were we going to leave? What food
More
did we
stuff
need
to
to
talk
carry?
about.
How far did we have to go before we could stay in a hotel? Because it was segregated south at the
back then.
time. You had to get north of the Mason-Dixon line before you could stay in a hotel. But I would put all of those issues on the agenda. We would discuss them. We would come up with a plan. If we were going to paint the living room, my mother wanted to paint it a kind of rose color. My father thought that we'd get tired of that in the house. So we'd have
Rose
a
color?
discussion. I had real responsibilities. And that's what I took from that, was the importance along the way of having responsibility and not waiting until you have to take big decisions, but having responsibility along the way. I very often say to my students, you're not going, in your first job, you're not going to
I'm
be
trying to.
making decisions
Yeah.
for the CEO or for the senator.
No.
But you can have an opportunity to make decisions along the way by volunteering
I don't
for your
want-
student government or to organize a
I'm
conference.
44 years old.
So I really
Andrew's
think
44
it's
years old.
important
So.
to get early options.
Yeah,
to make
just 44
decisions,
years old.
and my parents gave me
Andrew's 44
really,
years old. I'm a little bit.
a good lesson about that very early in my life.
Crash course in
My parents' story had everything to do with my worldview. And I did have a rather unusual background. My parents came from
Yeah, I
small
remember.
towns in what was Bohemia
Fascism
at the
in the
time,
morning.
part of Czechoslovakia. They
audiobook.
were the first generation of Czechoslovaks.
Hell and Other
The
Destinations. Those
country was
disgrace.
founded in 1918
Narrated by
with the
Madeleine
help of
Albright.
Woodrow Wilson.
18.
And the Czechoslovak Constitution
This is
mirrors the
Madeleine Albright.
American
This is
one,
Madeleine Albright.
except for
Madeleine Albright.
one major
Madeleine
difference.
Albright.
It had women's
Talking
rights
to
in it in
Madeleine Albright.
1918. So my parents were both very proud
Madam Secretary.
Czechoslovaks.
Touching.
And my father became a diplomat. One of his first postings was to be press attaché in Belgrade before the war. My mother wanted me to move
Narrated
to Prague,
Madeleine
where her
Albright.
mother
24
was.
hours.
But my father was in
$35.
Belgrade, so there are a lot of Serbs who actually think I was born in Belgrade. What
Okay.
happened was they were called to Prague, and so we were in Prague when the Nazis marched into Czechoslovakia in March 1939. My parents had figured out how to escape, and so we escaped from Prague and went actually through the Balkans and arrived in London where the government in exile was. And my father worked for the government in exile. And the thing that he did actually was to broadcast over BBC into Czechoslovakia. I was little and they had big radios. I heard my father, and I thought he's in the radio.
Okay.
But the thing that I remember is the BBC broadcast would begin with the first notes from Beethoven, say da 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 da, which in Morse code is victory.
Da, da,
So
da, da.
we spent the war and the Blitz in London, in the cellar of this apartment house where we lived with a lot of other refugees. When we woke up in the morning, I could see that buildings had been destroyed, and the war ended, and we went back to Czechoslovakia, and my father worked for the government there. We lived in Prague for a little while, and then he became ambassador to Yugoslavia. So what I find interesting about them is they came from generally well-to-do families. We were refugees in London living through the war. Then
You were
my
part of the
father
Soviet
became an
Union?
ambassador. We lived in the residence of the Czechoslovak embassy. Then the communists took over. We came to the United States, and we were refugees again.
Huh.
And the thing that I learned from my parents, in addition to pride in countries and a lot of diplomatic
1948.
history,
Yeah.
is that they made the abnormal seem normal. We lived in Denver, and they made our lives really functional. We were poor, and my mother, who had gone to a school in Switzerland at a certain time, all of a sudden became a secretary in the Denver public schools. My father went to teach, and I'll never forget this because I have to admit, and he did too, that to a certain extent Europeans are kind of intellectual snobs, and they talk about the intelligentsia, which would be the people that have educations and all that. And my father would come back from teaching and he'd say, I don't believe this. American students are very different from European students. I went to a restaurant and that student was the waiter. I went to get gas and another student pumped my gas. He said that would never happen in Europe. And really recognizing the life of American students and their capability of adjusting to circumstances. And so that was a lesson also, I have to say. Snobism and elitism was not part of my family's vocabulary. And so they really were remarkable people in keeping their dignity, but really understanding how to get used to a different life and, as I said, making the abnormal seem normal. And that is a lesson that I take with me.
Right.